You good? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Bonjour, tout le monde. Thank you for being here. For anyone younger than 18, please feel free to have a seat in front of us here on the floor. Crisscross applesauce, legs in a nice cross-legged position. Anyone else is welcome to join as well and sit too, but standing is also welcome. My name is Mark Czapesky. I'm Vice President of Program Development at Electricity Human Resources Canada, or EHRC. And it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all here this evening. We are excited to have you all joining us tonight for the launch of the Great Canadian Electricity Map. A special thank you to all of the parents and children who came out on a Monday night to be part of this very first interaction with the map. No one else has seen it yet. As part of its mission to strengthen the ability of the Canadian electricity industry in meeting the current and future needs of its workforce, EHRC is committed to implementing an educational, creative, and engaging program that will help elevate renewable, and this is my son, Henry. You want to say hi, everybody? And renewable and non-GHG emitting energy within the national consciousness. Today, we all witness it coming to life. This project actually began as an idea over 10 years ago. And with the support of Natural Resources Canada, the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers, and others in our industry, EHRC has been able to partner with Canadian Geographic Education over the past year to bring the idea to reality. Before we really get started, though, this is an industry that puts safety first at every opportunity. And so with that in mind, please note that your exits are actually, one is right behind me, and so the safety captain will move this out of the way should we have to evacuate. And there's a second one through the back and on the left, the one that you all entered through. Bathrooms, if you don't already know, are through the door on the far side there. In the event of an evacuation, an alarm will sound. Safety captain is David. David, where are you? David is in the back waving. And we will meet at what look like the three white antennas in front of Cangio's offices in the middle one, should that happen. So we have several special and invited guests lined up for you today. And to start us off, we will be hearing from Roger Daybuch, Anishinaabe elder from Mississauga First Nation, and Robinson Huron Treaty. Roger has traveled to Ottawa in friendship to support the launch of this wonderful learning tool and EHRC's ongoing work to increase Indigenous inclusion as Canada embarks on the biggest electricity system build-out since we started over 100 years ago. Roger, if you could join us up here.
Let me finish talking before you clap. I'm just kidding. I thank you for allowing me what we call into your lodge. It was a great honor, and especially from my friend here. We keep pretty close touch with each other. And my job back home. But before I start, I'd like to formally introduce myself. I spilled my drink. You better hang on to that. I'm Ani, Dijinakaz Roger Daybuch. Mizwez Agadonjaba, Makwadorum. And I introduce myself because in my culture, in my ways, that's how the Creator recognizes me. And by using this shaker, it's me calling the spirits into the lodge so the spirits can be with us tonight in this really momentous occasion. When I say I'm a traditional knowledge keeper, it's not something that I have labeled myself. It was given to me through my peers and my elders in my community. And one of my responsibilities is to look after eagle feathers. And they play a very important role in our society and with our well-being as well. So I have the warrior, what we call it. And when I use this to present, it's all the knowledge that the elders, my teachers, spiritual advisors have given me over the years. I have a good formal education, but in my so-called retirement, I used my bundle as my teacher. And I say that with the great most of respect, because all my teachings that I've received come from the elders and teachers. And I don't downplay the education system because I needed that at the time to put food on my table. So I had to eat. In order to eat nowadays, you need a piece of paper to prove that you're qualified. But in my society, these are my qualifications. The number of eagle feathers that I have in my possession, and the amount of knowledge that I carry with me. So I hold these with the highest regard, and that's why I use that as part of my introduction. What we're doing tonight, and I shared this with a few people, is all part of our prophecy. I'm not here by accident, nor is any one of you here by accident. And the Ojibwe, that's where I come from, the Ojibwe Nation. We have 7 fires, and the 7 fires, after every prophecy was proclaimed, a fire was lit. We're into the 7th fire now, and that 7th fire teaches us that we will come together as one nation, and we will collectively collaborate on what is good for us. And we know, as keepers and caretakers of the land, our responsibility and our relationship to it, most importantly. We're at a time now where the writing's on the wall. Mother Nature has proven to us so many times over and over again the powers that she has. She has demonstrated that. So we're at a time now, we're at a crossroads. And the 8th fire in the Cree Nation is something similar, and they talk about the Armageddon. And I kind of joke with the Armageddon, not Hollywood style. There's a whole different teaching in the Cree Nation about their Armageddon. And it's basically the same thing, that we're at a crossroads in life now, where these things that we're working on, it's not accidental. It's probably part of your prophecies and your teachings as well, that we have to come to terms with our ecosystem. We have to understand our ecosystem as life. And I encourage everybody to look at that as life. The water, the plants, the air, the animals. Everything is life. And when I teach the young people, we are students of creation. We were the last creatures that the Creator put down to look after Mother Earth. And that's our job, to look after and care for her. And I kind of scratch my head sometimes and wonder, how are we students of creation when we've taken over and became the experts of creation? And look at the mess we're in. So we got to take a step back and take a real look at everything that's going on. And I'm very confident that we're on the right page, that we will sort this out. We will give life back to the water. It'll become sustainable. We will give life back to the trees, the animals. When I do my ceremonies back home, I do the eagle ceremony. That takes 11 days. And during that time, those first 7 days are focused on the 7 grandfather teachings. And during that time, it's very quiet. We have the eagle hanging from the rafter up in the teepee, and it's very quiet. We have the sacred fire going, And after the third or fourth day, we might see a rabbit come out the bush. And then all of a sudden a deer will come trotting by. And the geese will come sit on the outsides of the circle and greet us. And they're telling us something. Hey, we trust you again. We trust that you're not going to hurt us or kill us. So that relationship is slowly building from the animal world as well. So when we see those things, we feel comfortable that life is being sustained again. The trust is being built again from our animal friends. So doing those things, and even when you're doing your studies out in the wilderness, whether it be water, rocks, air, and fire, those four elements are the main elements of sustainability for all nations, not only Nishnabik, for all nations. When we have that respect for it, it will respect us in the same way. So I'm really proud to be here and be asked to invite it down. My chum called me last night when I was having supper. He interrupted my bologna sandwich. And he reminded me the importance of this work that we're not only he's doing, but we're all trying to do, the importance of it. And when he reminded me of my commitment that I had made to him when he asked me to be part of it, and then he gave me the tobacco. And to me, the tobacco is probably one of the most important contracts that one could bestow upon another. It's a contract. So in order for me to be honorable to you folks, I have to honor this tobacco in a good way, that I will present myself and share with teachings that were given to me. You see, I didn't bring no script. Save that for the courthouse. But when we speak from the heart, we call it the language of the heart. We know that we are speaking in the Creator's words. So all the stuff that's happening around, it's really exciting times. And I also like to acknowledge the territory that we're in. We're in Algonquin territory. That's what they say. But at one time, this was a huge area of congregating. The Algonquin, the Ojibwe, the Haudenosaunee people, and the Cree. A big gathering place here. My cousin, he married a Haudenosaunee woman. And he always bragged about it. He said, you know, when an Ojibwe man marries a Cree, they walk on the left side. When an Ojibwe man marries another nation, they walk on the right side. When he marries a Mohawk, she walks all over him. I said that in a Mohawk gathering, I almost had to run out that exit, especially from the women. They weren't. But that's who we are. There's a lot of laughter and humor in our lives. And I was at a gathering up in Chapleau last week with elders on residential school. And we used a lot of humor in my presentation anyway. I was the facilitator, and I'm also a survivor. So we used that part of our pain as healing. So there's a lot of history, hundreds and thousands of years of history that is wrapped up within our nation here in Turtle Island. This is only a part of it. It only captures one part of it, and it's all life. Remember a number of years ago, somebody came into my territory, and an elder was giving me a teaching. Back in the 1700s, we were having ceremonies back in our territory, and this young man from Perry Island came up, and he found this beautiful rock, and he took it back home. And when the elders seen it, oh, you got to take this back where you found it. It don't belong here. 1700s, those old people knew the importance and the healing of uranium. Because in Elliott Lake, there's an abundance of uranium. And they use that for healing all kinds of sicknesses, illnesses that we had back in the old days. And we still do have them. But it was used in a medicinal way. Same thing with I'm part of the Robinson-Huron Treaty. When that thing started, back in the it was part of mining. They were taking copper from our territory and using it for monetary purposes. Our folks went and invaded the camp and said, no, no, no. Copper is used in a medicinal way. It heals you, takes away arthritis, and for other healing methods. When we learn how to use those medicines in a good way, it's like everything here, all the work you're trying to do, you'll be rewarded and gifted with that knowledge, not in a monetary way, but a gift of knowledge here and here. So there's so much to learn. We've only touched the surface on this project. All during the summer months, I'm traveling across, doing land-based camps, sharing the same type of knowledge, teaching stories, clans, naming ceremonies. And I encourage the young people that in order to move on, we have to build a foundation for ourselves, for our Benojis. That's the future. These are the future leaders of our territory and our country. And with that knowledge that we give them today, they're going to carry on and say, hey, that handsome old man, I think his name is Roger. But it's so important, not only the young people, but parents as well, that they come to these gatherings and learn about not only what they're teaching here, but the foundation of everything, where it all originates from. So I can go on for hours. Maybe I will. No, but I'll leave it with that. And I hope that before the evening's over that I can have some time and share a little bit more and talk, and maybe I can finish my water without my chum knocking it out of my hand. But I say miigwech. You know what that means? It means thank you. And I'm going to share a word with you we use quite regular. Can you say Bamampi? Ooh, that's horrible. I could start a war. Aye, perfect. A little Benoji in the back. One more time, Bamampi. Yeah, you know, in our world, in our society, our Anishinaabe world, there's no such word as goodbye. Because goodbye is when you're heading into that western doorway onto the next dimension. Bamampi means I'll see you again. And I know we will, because we're all here for the same purpose. So having said that, miigwech, thank you for your time. I got more junk in here too. But I'll bring it out at another time. Okay, Bamampi.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you for being here today, and also thank you for your support and friendship over the course of our Greening a Generation initiative, which led to the Great Floor Map, and with your many years of wisdom as we welcome this new generation of learners in understanding Canada's contribution to reducing carbon emissions. I would now like to welcome and introduce Michelle Brannigan, CEO of Electricity Human Resources Canada, or EHRC. Michelle has been at the helm of EHRC since 2010, and she doesn't like me to remind her that that means she's been part of Canada's electricity system for the 10% of its existence. So without further ado, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. It's fantastic to see so many people in the room. I think we have a fantastic story to tell in the Canadian electricity industry. Our electricity grid is one of the cleanest in the world already, with 85% of our electricity generated from clean energy generation sources like hydro, like nuclear, like wind, like solar. As we look to lead the world in addressing climate change and in meeting Canada's 2050 goals, we still have more to do as we electrify our country and our economy. So electricity powers communities throughout Canada. So our schools, our hospitals, our grocery stores, our electrical vehicles, if you can get one, and yes, those mobile devices that seem to be permanently glued or attached to our kids' hands. But really, it affects everything that we do, how our goods are made, how food is grown, how everybody is transported. Every single part of our day-to-day lives and our businesses require clean, reliable power. So the Greening a Generation project and this MAPS campaign in particular provide a real opportunity for us to inspire and encourage our youth throughout the K-12 system to think about decarbonization, to explore how they can play a role in leading Canada to a greener future. So EHRC and Canadian Geographic have created and circulated a number of these maps that you see here today. And the maps, if you've had an opportunity to look at them, they really showcase how our electricity is generated, transmitted, and distributed coast to coast to coast. And it will provide students and educators and Canadians with a clear vision and understanding for how electrification is the safest and most accessible option for the future of energy in Canada. We're really trying to take an innovative approach, a hands-on approach, to teach students about their country and provide them with different types of experiential and visual learning, and really open their hearts and their minds to the wonders of electricity and renewable energy. And these maps will go out to over 20,000 teachers across the country, and each map actually comes equipped with an array of supplies for those teachers to further enhance the students' experiences. So map legends, activity cards, props, curricula, and a teacher's guide. So it really is a hands-on experience for the children that will bring the map to life. You'll also have hopefully had time to check out some of the QR codes that have been implemented throughout the map. Those QR codes cover a total of 75 career video profiles in the electricity, renewable, and environmental career sectors. So behind every technology, every innovation that we talk about in this industry, every project, there are people. We have power line technicians, engineers, wind turbine technicians, cybersecurity specialists, nuclear operators, electricians, and then of course there's the non-technical jobs. So the business owners, the accountants, the lawyers, every single one of those jobs in this industry is crucial to make sure that our systems work, and that these maps are going to bring those careers to life for these young children. Ideally, our youth can be inspired to learn more and hopefully see themselves working in this industry and making a difference, as Roger mentioned, helping Mother Nature and creating a healthier planet at the end of the day. I did want to recognize that this type of a collaboration that has been many years in the works, as Mark mentioned, took a lot of work from a lot of different organizations, all dedicated to the same vision. I want to thank, of course, Canadian Geographic for working with us in the development and implementation of the tool. Thank you to our funder, Natural Resources Canada, and our title sponsor, the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers. You'll have an opportunity to hear from both of those shortly. From Hydro One and Alberta Electricity System Operator. Our partners, the Aboriginal Apprenticeship Board of Ontario, Indigenous Treaty Partners, and Eco Canada. I just also did want to do a shout out and a recognition to Barbershop, who traveled with EHRC team across the country to put these videos together. Really worth your while having a look at those. They really bring things to life. The EHRC team who have worked diligently on this, and a special shout out to Mac Long, who's leading this project. Mac, can you just wave so everybody knows that's you? That was with Roger. Mac joined us last year, and he was only in the door and he was out the door because he was filming videos coast to coast to coast. So thank you to everybody who has worked so hard to make this a reality. I'd also like to thank Parliamentary Secretary DeBruson for being here today, and I know you're going to say a few words. Our goal at EHRC is to work with our partners to build the skills, the work experiences, and the sustainable jobs that are required to meet our growing electricity demands, address climate change, and build a strong economic future for Canada and also for our youth. So thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, Michelle. It's now my pleasure to introduce Parliamentary Secretary Julie DeBruson. MP DeBruson is first elected in 2015 and is currently Parliamentary Secretary to both the Ministers of Environment and Climate Change Canada and the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, so the perfect member of Parliament to be here with us tonight. MP DeBruson's accomplishments include her receipt of the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal for Community Service in 2012. Welcome, Parliamentary Secretary DeBruson.
Well, thank you. Et je vois que nous en avons encore quelques jeunes avec nous. Est-ce que tout le monde a trouvé l'Ontario quand ils ont regardé la grande carte? Il y en a quelqu'un qui a trouvé l'Ontario? Peut-être? Parce que je pense qu'aujourd'hui, c'est une bonne journée pour l'Ontario. Alors, juste pour commencer, je voulais juste dire bonne journée franco-ontarien et franco-ontarienne aujourd'hui. C'est une belle journée pour tout le monde dans notre province. So it was fun to see all the young people running around on the map and checking out all of the different parts of what's here. It really shows you what the opportunities are when you see something like this. And the power grid is so important to everything we need to do for the future. When you look at the future of our country, a big piece of what we talk about net zero by 2050 involves increased electricity. It means when we're talking about how we're going to be heating our homes, when we're talking about the vehicles we're going to be driving, and not just our cars, school buses, big trucks, all of that. Over time, as we get to 2050, we're going to be seeing more and more of the items that we're using needing to use electricity. And what's exciting about a project like this is that you see how some of the pieces have already come together. You've already heard we have one of the cleanest grids in the world. That's an amazing place to start. We are going to move towards a clean grid a net zero grid by 2035. And some estimates are gonna say that we have to double the size of our grid. So everything that you're looking at is going to have to double by 2050. So that's a tall, tall task that we're looking at. And that means that we're going to need a lot of people to be looking at these amazing jobs that help support this grid. And I know that when I have been out traveling, this summer I had the experience, I'm gonna describe it as an experience because I don't know if it was all great, it was a little terrifying, but I climbed a wind turbine. And seeing the people who were working on this wind turbine and all of the different skills that they brought to make it happen, and listening to talk about why they chose those careers was an amazing thing. People were telling me that they had had desk jobs, hadn't really liked that job, and now they got to climb wind turbines and they got to travel around between the different ones and they got to see how it all came together. So these are, that's one example. You heard from Michelle too about the things about, nuclear power, all these different types of jobs that we're going to have going forward in different parts of our grid. It's really important that young people start talking about that earlier on and see all those possibilities. Just earlier this year, in June, I announced $30 million in support for nearly 1,000 new green jobs across the country. And that's something that we work on all the time, is how do we engage young people? Ministers Wilkinson and Minister Guilbeault both have youth councils that they talk with fairly regularly to try and get input into what does the future look like for our country. And I know that we only have a few young kids left here today. You're a little bit younger than the age group for the youth councils, but going forward, think about that as something you might want to do, some way that you can be able to make sure you have input into the work we're doing. So I am really proud today to be here with you as we look at the Great Canadian Electricity Map, la grande carte de l'électricité au Canada. The Government of Canada has invested $1.4 million in the Greening a Generation project, which includes this map initiative. The clean energy sources that students will learn about as a part of this project, nuclear, hydro, wind, and solar, are at the heart of what the federal government has been supporting to decarbonize and accelerate renewables in Canada. I'd really like to thank Electricity Human Resources Canada on their vision and their ambition. This is a tremendous project, and pulling it together, and also the work that you are doing in close collaboration with Indigenous communities to make this happen, has a vision for the future and how we all can work together to that green electrical grid that we need to have. And from east to west, north to south, all Canadians' futures are tied by the future of energy in this country. This map is an amazing example as it pulls that together for you all to see it. So I want to thank you very much for having me today. This is a beautiful day. I can't wait to check out all of the videos, and I hope that everyone takes some time to do that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Parliamentary Secretary DeBruzen, for being here today and for helping us to officially launch not just the map, but the project. Very much appreciated. We were fortunate with this project, as Michelle mentioned, to have strong industry support and collaboration from the video shoots nationwide, which involved a Herculean effort from our videography team, Barbara Shop, and of course, Mac Long and the project team here at EHRC. And so we've had an opportunity to connect with companies nationwide, and of course, we've had financial support for this initiative from the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers, Hydro One, and the ASO in Alberta. I'd now like to introduce Cody Kwan from CUSW to say a few words. Cody.
Hello, everyone. For those of you that know John Wabb, he sends his regrets. I'm going to do my best to try to fill in for John, but that's a tough order. So I'd like to thank you all for coming and showing your support. I think we can all agree that the team has done a great job, and we are all excited for the introduction of this new map. We are proud to sponsor a great group who really understands that the future of the power sector is reliant on the youth of tomorrow to be a success. Tools like this are essential elements in educating kids in school on how vast and diverse our sector really is. When we look at the different types of electrical generation and transmission, not just here in Ontario where we are now, but across Canada, we can see that there's enough work to support a generation of young workers. This map is just one item on a large list of initiatives that you guys undertake that we think are really important. Like your Mentor Junction or Workers in Transition, which is a program you guys have that help workers and with transferable skills transition into the electrical sector. It's hard to measure how valuable and meaningful these are to Canadians trying to find jobs in the sector. With electrification and a focus on reduced carbon future for the sector, the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers have positioned ourselves well to be able to support this work and introduce a variety of apprentices into the electrical sector. Every day we are sending more and more electrical apprentices, power line technicians, and instrumentation and control apprentices to work, starting them on a path to lifelong learning in an electrical career. We need to continue to ensure that our youth know that the path to starting a career in the sector, whether it be in a skilled trade, as an engineer, an operator, or any of the careers in this field, starts with a solid educational foundation. While we talk about all the work within the power sector, we need to keep focused on making sure that all components of this labor market are doing so with diversity, equity, and inclusion principles in mind. The Canadian Union of Skilled Workers have made a commitment that inclusion can only be established through ongoing actions and behaviors we demonstrate when we embrace the uniqueness of each of our members. We need to remember that things like culture, ability, gender, age, sexual orientation, family status, nationality, appearance, educational background, work experience, ethnicity, and language are things that should never prevent anyone from having a career in our sector. This interactive map reminds us of how much our industry has grown and evolved over the last 100 or so years. It's actually incredible walking around learning about some of the stuff I didn't even know. As we look forward, I can only begin to imagine what it'll look like again in another 100 years. It's very clear that we're on a journey, and without knowing where that will take us, I can only offer advice to the youth that are still here, that are hopefully interested in this field. And that is, success is contagious, and looking around the room here tonight, I see a lot of success to celebrate. So thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Now, of course, this project could not have come off with our support from Canadian Geographic Education, and so I'd like to introduce Eric Nadeau, Education Program Coordinator from CanGeo.
All right, thank you very much. Let me just put that up there. Okay. So, hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Eric. I'm an education program coordinator at Canadian Geographic, but I am just a small part of a larger team that helped put this project together in partnership with EHRC. So, what is the essence of this giant floor map? So, we had, working with EHRC, this vision of what we wanted it to be and the impact we wanted it to have. So it really is more than just a map. It's an educational tool and a doorway to a world of knowledge about the electricity sector, as well as the exciting careers that are available within the industry. But more, very importantly, it's also a celebration of the rich diversity within the sector, with a special emphasis on sharing stories and experiences and perspectives of Indigenous peoples as well. So, as an educational tool, this Great Canadian Electricity Map, we believe it really offers an immersive learning experience for students. It's designed to really transform classrooms into an interactive learning space where students, have this kind of unique opportunity to explore, the energy landscape of Canada, as well as, the complexities of electricity production and transmission. So to that end, so our team, we developed 6 lesson plans that go with this map. So they cover a wide variety of topics, including, the role of geography and climate in energy production and transmission, the evolution and history of electricity generation, which utilizes this lovely timeline around the edges of the map. We have lessons on Indigenous-led energy projects and the unique challenges involved in those. We also look at innovation, sustainability, the future of energy in Canada. And of course, the lessons also cover the diversity of careers in the electricity sector. So we really strived to create a hands-on experience for students. We hope that's what we achieved. So as it's been mentioned many times, but one of the unique things about this map are the QR codes. So that's actually a one-of-a-kind map feature. So at CanGeo, we've made a lot of maps. It's the first time we've done this. And it's, I believe there's over 70 QR codes allowing users to, instantaneously watch different short videos, profiling different members of the workforce, and providing students with deeper insights into various aspects of the electricity sector. So we think it's a really dynamic, engaging way for students to learn about the industry and interact with the map. So beyond their educational value, these videos, I think, really shine a spotlight on the diversity of people working in the industry, and as well, showcase these Indigenous-led efforts and their perspectives and experiences as well, which are very important. And ultimately, it's an invitation for young people, across the country to, regardless of their background, to consider a career in an inclusive and forward-thinking industry. So I just want to mention a bit, for those not familiar with our Giant floor map program, so in our partnership with EHRC, we have made a number of these maps available for schools and teachers to book for about a 3-week period. So it's completely free for them to book these. And each map ships with a teacher's guide. So we try and equip educators with the tools they need to really inspire and educate their students on this topic. So so I believe we've just started, actually, just very recently started shipping out our first maps, so we're really eagerly awaiting feedback on those maps. So as you know, as it's been mentioned a few times tonight, the electricity sector, it's undergoing a big transformation, and we really need the younger generations to get involved and really participate in the future of energy. So personally, very happy that I've had the opportunity to work on this project. I know it will ignite a curiosity among students, perhaps a passion for the industry, and really inspire youth to be part of this greener and brighter future. So thank you very much, and enjoy the map. All right, take care.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you to Canadian Geographic and the education team here for being a great partner in this initiative. This concludes the formal proceedings for today. I'd like to invite anyone who hasn't already had a chance to do so to take a stroll across Canada, learn about the electricity system and the infrastructure over the course of the next 15 minutes or so. Where are the nuclear plants, the major hydro facilities? What are the different jobs required to keep electricity flowing 24/7, 365? Believe it or not, there are 110,000 people working every day to keep our economy humming. This map, as Eric mentioned, is actually one of 6. So there are 5 touring schools, and this one is bookable. So if you want it, let us know. Enjoy your time this evening. Thank you again to all of you for being here. I think we ran up against bedtime for some of our younger visitors who joined us this evening. So thank you all. Merci. Miigwech.